I'm Chief Cheryl Victorian. This is Waco PD on the beat. Whether it's crime or just getting to know the Waco Police Department, we're here to talk about things that matter most to you.
Well, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time you're listening to this. Hello, Waco, and welcome to Waco PD on the beat. I'm Sierra Shipley, the Public Information Officer.
And I'm also Janae Draper with the Neighborhood Engagement Team.
And we are learning about one of our units. It is the assault / financial unit.
Yes, financial crimes.
Financial crimes. And we have Sergeant Matthew McAllister here with us.
That's me.
Thank you.
Welcome, Sarge.
Good to be here.
Yeah. The happiest man in the building, I have to say.
I was 6 day. I mean, you.
Most days, yes.
Yeah. All that positive energy. I love it.
Oh, my gosh. I love it. You tell him, have a good day. He tells you have a great day. He says, thanks for letting me see you today. That's my favorite line.
Glad I got to see you today.
That's my favorite one.
Look at that. I love it.
Favorite one.
Like, it is like cold and dreary and rainy outside, but it's just like it's sunshine and 90 degrees, and rainbows and butterflies going on in here. It's just so awesome.
Exactly,
love it.
Exactly. Well, before we get into what all the financial crimes that we have to talk about, we want to talk about you first. So,
spotlight.
So how long have you worked here at Waco PD?
Well, in 10 days, it'll be 20 years. So February 3rd.
10 days, 20 years.
Wow. Well, happy early 20-year anniversary.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Appreciate it. Yeah.
That's exciting. And were you an officer somewhere else before Waco PD?
No, so I applied when I was 20 years old. So started here and did patrol for 8.5 years. And then after my 8.5 years in patrol, I went to digital forensics where I worked about 9 years. And then February last year, I promoted to sergeant, went to patrol, and then did 5 months, 4 days, 3 hours is what I always say on midnight patrol, and then tested for CID, assault and financial crimes, and got that position as sergeant over that unit. So
very cool. Has this been a unit you've always been interested in?
So I've always been interested in CID. I tested for it actually twice when I was a grade 1 troop. It's an interesting spot where a lot of action happens and kind of the heartbeat of the department as far as the investigations go. So.
Mm-hmm. Tested to be a detective?
Correct. Yeah.
Okay, very good. Yeah, so those who don't know, explain kind of what that process is as far as you can test to be a detective, but you are sergeant now.
Yeah, so we're actually in a testing process right now as well. We're one officer short with Joe Bob Williams retiring at the end of this month. So basically you just put in an application with the personnel office and request a test, and then there's a testing process that consists of usually a test, a presentation, and an oral interview or some combination of those that you're graded on, and then creates a list, and then the top however many people promote. So.
Nice.
And this is a lateral testing.
Lateral transfer.
Yeah, lateral transfer. So,
right.
Very good. And so, how are you liking your new role now?
I love it. It's great. Yeah.
Yeah. How was your unit so excited to get you? Because, like I said, you're the happiest person in the world. So.
I think that for the most part, yeah.
I was going to say, I think sometimes those guys up there, they get a little grumpy every once in a while.
It's a lot of stress
they don't
with case
have
management.
that ray of sunshine, but now they do.
Now
so
they
they're probably a ray of sunshine now. I haven't been down there in a hot minute, but
at least they get a case and a smile.
Exactly.
Exactly. So how many detectives do you have?
I have 8 right now.
Okay, and you say that you're going to have an opening soon, right?
Yeah, so it's already posted. Joe Bob Williams is leaving into the month, and so that'll bring me down to 7, and then we'll be back at 8 after this testing process.
Is that a full unit? 8 or?
So at some point there was 9 in the unit, but our official number right now is 8, so that'll be a full unit.
Okay, very good. I'm sure
is out of all the different units, is 8 roughly around how many detectives you have in each unit, or is that one the most? Maybe because there's the most.
Yeah, I guess so. To explain it, CID is broken down into 3 sections. We have the theft miscellaneous unit, the burglary and auto theft unit, and then ours, assault and financial crimes. We're all allocated 8 people. Right now, currently, due to staffing issues, we're only filling 1 position. We'll be a total of 4 short, though, in our units.
Oh, wow.
So.
Yeah.
Right. I was going to say, out of all the units we've talked to, usually they've got 5, 4. I've never heard 8 before. That's a pretty big number, so that's good. What kind of crimes do you guys investigate?
So we do any assaultive offenses. We do unlawful carrying of weapons. We do deadly conducts, terroristic threats, stalkings, any fraud offense, any any financial crime that includes like credit card abuse, debit card abuse, things of that nature, and then any assaultive offense that's not a family violence, including shootings usually. So.
Oh, wow.
Is there an incident or cases that you guys usually work more than others, or does it kind of fluctuate always?
It fluctuates, but I would say that assaultive crimes and financial crimes are both on the rise, especially since COVID. We have people that have, been at home and they find a way to scam online instead of, doing typical burglaries or thefts that they were out and about doing in the past. So both of the caseloads that we work are both up over the last couple of years. So.
Really?
So crimes that would happen like on the computer or something, if they got their information, would the financial unit, would y'all do those?
We do, yes.
Okay, so now, okay.
Now we found the unit.
This is the unit you're looking for.
And so how it's so easy. I want to talk about those financial crimes for a bit. It's so easy to fall victim to that.
Absolutely, it is.
I kind of feel like I did recently fall victim to that too, but
Like I did as well.
it was only $40.
I'll take a report
It
for
was only $40.
Yeah.
So,
So I mean, it happens. Like even to the
Yeah.
best of us. I mean, it does happen. 'Cause
I did tell you not to click that link.
you did. So I'm even guilty of it. I will admit I was guilty of it. It was an email from Amazon, and it looked legit, and I was wrong.
Yeah. So
Because I was expecting an order.
Yeah. We all are always expecting
Yeah,
orders
so that's
from
what I'm
Amazon.
saying. Hey, if you have fallen victim, don't. It happens to all of us. We learn from it, and luckily we have good detectives here that can help us.
The main thing is let's document it, right? So we can know how many of these are out there and how many of these are coming from. So come make a report, go online, make a report. We have an online reporting system through the city that's phenomenal, really, and you can do that.
That's what I say. So would that probably be the easiest thing to do? Let's say, I mean, like in my instance or whatnot, where it was, something smaller or Sierra's where it was $40, just to go online and make an online report. But that way it tracks it for y'all, so y'all kind of know how many of these things are happening.
Absolutely, yeah.
And a lot of times, too, people will message us on Facebook and say, oh, I've been scammed out of this much money. And I'm like, oh, go online and report it. Or you can call or come to the PD.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, if you want to come in person, you can come in person and we can take your report over and face-to-face. So.
Yeah. Well, like you say, the documentation is really important for those people to make sure they have to show that they got scammed, because these crimes are also kind of hard to arrest on, right?
Yeah, a lot of times they're coming from overseas or out of state, out of country, and it can be very difficult on follow-up. So.
Right. And usually, if they're out of the country, can't arrest them.
Yeah, the good thing is a lot of banks now have, even like the scam where you go and buy gift cards and they get your gift cards. A lot of companies now or credit cards are refunding the people money if there's a police report. So
that's nice.
if you make a police report and say, hey, you're out $500, then a lot of times you can get reimbursed. And it's still unfortunate, but
Yeah. So you may not, like you said, the probability of maybe catching, especially the ones overseas, is very low, but at least you can get your money back and then learn.
Yeah.
Right. What kind of documentation should people have or helps the investigation?
So the transfer, however they transferred the money, if they bought gift cards, the receipts from the gift cards, any phone numbers, anything like that they communicated with, or email addresses that they communicated with are all helpful.
Even if, because I know a lot of times now people are spoofing numbers. So even if it's a spoof number, I mean, does that phone number help or?
Yeah, so through subpoena, we can usually figure out where it originated from. So.
Okay.
Do you guys know how many incidents you've investigated in 2022?
In 2022, we had 2,508 cases, and that's split amongst 8 detectives.
I mean, I can't do the math real
Hold on,
fast,
pull up
but
a calculator.
I was fixing to say that is
2,500.
a lot.
2,508 cases. And then, so just for perspective, in 2018, we had 1,950. And so we've exponentially gone up from 2018, 2019, 2020, 2021, and now
That's
2,500
312
per detective.
For a
per
whole year.
detective for a whole year. That is a lot.
It's a lot, yeah.
That is almost a case a day.
Yeah.
It's actually more than that working days. So,
Oh, yeah,
Yeah,
because that's
'cause
including weekends
That's including weekends.
and holidays and,
Right.
wow.
So you
Sick
figure
days.
with,
Yeah, so, I mean,
oh my goodness. Wow. So how, I want to talk about that for a little bit, because people report their cases, right? And a lot of times, obviously, most of the time, you can't make an arrest within an hour, right?
Right.
And so people get a little antsy and they want updates and they want, an outcome of the report. And so this is a great example to just remind people that our detectives are working a lot.
A lot, yeah. Yeah, so the thing that people, I think, perspective-wise need to realize is that this may only happen once in their lifetime, but it's happening to everyone constantly. I mean, it's happening a lot. We're getting a huge volume of cases, and if we're not getting back to you immediately, then we will. It's just we're inundated right at that moment.
Right,
so.
right. So what is something that people could do to maybe minimize them of becoming a victim? It's easier to say, as far as financial crimes go. Assault is a little bit different because it's, on a case-by-case basis. But with financial crimes, I feel like it's easier to maybe fact-check before you fall victim.
Yeah, I think one of the big things is a legitimate company is never going to ask you to go buy iTunes gift cards or Google Play gift cards. So if someone's doing that immediately, they're a scammer, 100%. A legitimate business is never going to have you go to a Bitcoin ATM and wire them a Bitcoin wallet transaction. They're never going to have that happen. So if that's happening, you're being scammed by that person, almost, I would say, unequivocally. So.
Yeah.
Do y'all also get because we hear about people calling and pretending to be law enforcement and saying that they have a warrant if they don't pay this amount right away, then they'll come pick up for your warrant. Do you also get those cases?
Sure, yeah, we get those as well.
Are those because we've heard about those happening here with, Waco or McLennan County SO and stuff. And one, we would never do that. So if you've had that happen, that's definitely a scam. But, so that's other stuff that to kind of be aware of,
Sure.
Wouldn't you say?
Absolutely, yeah. And another thing, too, is IRS season. You're going to have the IRS fake calls from the IRS saying that you owe them money and pay them money. The IRS isn't going to call you like that. And if they do, you need to call back the IRS number, not the number that they're giving you. And the same with credit card frauds. If you're getting, phone messages from your credit card company that they can, hey, save you money, do this, do that, they're just usually fishing for information. And so if you need to call your credit card company, call the number on the back of your card or call a number that you know to be your legitimate credit card company.
Right, right. Yeah. It is tax season. You just reminded me of that.
It is, yes.
Oh, jeez. So is this usually the time where that uptick you guys see? I'm sure the holidays as well. We talk a lot about crimes increase during the holidays, but is this for you guys the busy season?
Well, I would say the summer is our busy season because kids are out of school and there's a lot of gun violence. And with that, as far as the gun violence goes. For financial crimes, definitely around the holidays. There's huge scams around the holidays, and people are more giving around the holidays too. So they're, if you call and say your friend needs money, then you're more apt to give them money. This time of year, there's a lot of IRS scams that go on. So from now until really end of April, they'll be doing fake calls and saying you owe them money, and they'll work a deal with you for. Usually they use gift cards as that or Bitcoin ATM. So if those are happening, IRS does not use either one of those methods. So.
Right, right. And you said something important as we kind of move over to the assault side, and we've definitely talked about this on our podcast before. Chief has talked about this, but you said that sometimes the assault crimes kind of increase when the kids are out of school, whether they are the victims or possibly the suspects. We are seeing an increase in like those younger kids being suspects, right? Is that what you're seeing in your guys' cases as well?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we have unfortunately, you have kids shooting at kids and kids shooting kids. So, I mean, it's daily that we have people under 18 that are involved in these, in these shootings and these big fights. So
Right. And any of those cases and investigations, I mean, that's hard on the detective, but how much more impact is it when you guys see that it's a younger kid that's committing the crime?
I mean, it's a lot harder. It's definitely sadder to see. I mean, to see these young kids that have been either failed through parenting or failed by the system in some way to where they're out there feeling that their only answer is gun violence and, drug trafficking, whatever. So.
Right. And JD, that's where your unit comes in, I feel, too. And
yeah, we try I mean, all our departments, we really work together. I know specifically my unit, we try and get on the prevention side of it. An intervention side of it, and just try and get out into the community with different events and kind of talk to these kids and let them know that there's different outlets. That's why we have a lot of our events that we do, like the CO, which is actually coming up, community opportunity event, to kind of give these kids different resources and outlets. And we also try and reach out to the community and have community members. As far as we talk about violence interrupters and stuff, but having everybody just get involved because it's not just one. It's not just the, assault financial crimes, job to solve these. It's not just neighborhood engagement, job to solve this. It's not just the parents' job. Like, we've all got to work together and hopefully bring this down. But we do see that we have a problem, but we're working very hard to fix it. And I mean, we're seeing a decrease, and that's good. So something that we're doing, working all together, does work well.
You as a sergeant, and we're on the streets and now dealing with these, or working with these detectives and having to work the investigations with these younger kids, seeing these other units put on these events and kind of intervention, just so much information and support being poured out into the community. Do you guys feel that could help? I know
absolutely, yeah. And I think a lot of times that people are just scared to talk to police in general, and so having, hey, this person JD I'm familiar with JD, so I can talk to her. I can talk to whomever. Having a contact that they can trust is very important at the PD, and so I think it's invaluable to have these community assets that we have.
Yeah, and I think that even goes to other organizations in the community too that partner with us and try and help kind of change these paths for these kids' lives.
Absolutely, yeah.
Super important. Well, I want you to, brag on your unit a little bit, because you guys do a lot of great work, and I know they come to me a lot for either wanted individuals if we post on our Facebook page. So were there any notable arrests or investigations that you guys completed last year that you think would be important to talk about?
Yeah, sure. So like the Barron Branch shooting, there was 2 people that were shot at Barron's Branch Apartments. We did an investigation. We had a lot of community help in that case with social media. We made 2 arrests on that case. And then the shooting at 1400 LaSalle, we made arrests on that case. Part of the responsibilities that we currently have right now as well is fatal crash investigations. So we did a lot of those as well. We went on 17 fatal crashes and prosecuted 5 of those criminally for felony charges. So
Wow. I feel like last year we did have a lot of fatal crashes that we were sending news releases out on and going out on. I remember
there were quite a few.
You said 17 last year?
17 that we went out on, yeah. And then a lot of those ended up in felony charges due to intoxication or recklessness.
Wow. And that's just, that's so sad, too.
It is sad. But, it's good to hear that, the charges are being brought and they're making arrests and stuff on those, on ones that need to be, that charges need to be brought upon. So, that it is a sad event, but at least, an outcome that, some of them that need to be made.
Yeah. I'm sure one thing that you guys also might benefit from is maybe like Crime Stoppers tips as
Absolutely,
far as those shootings that do happen kind of randomly. Well, I don't want to say randomly. They're
usually targeted.
They're always usually targeted, or there's an interpersonal conflict between the 2 parties that it's happening. But a lot of times when that does happen, or we are called out to a shooting that had happened, there isn't a lot of people who were on scene willing to come forth, right?
Sure. Yeah, and a lot of times if you can be anonymous, I think that helps a lot, just being able to call into our Crime Stoppers and give an anonymous tip. And sometimes in some certain cases even get rewards for giving the tip. So yeah, that's great.
Absolutely. And you said that with social media, that's helped in cases as well, solve cases.
Yeah, we have people all the time tell us, like, hey, I just saw this on social media and screen recorded it, and they'll send it in. And even if they're not related, just seeing it, and that's helpful in cases as well. So
really. And because I'm sure as a patrol officer, I know a lot of times, and I've been out on scene, and as far as, a shooting that had occurred, and they're not really usually willing to talk.
Yeah, usually right on scene, you don't get a lot of people that, they might have been standing around, but of course didn't see anything. And that makes it really hard for the investigation, because we want to solve this. It's a tragic event or whatever, and we want to get to the bottom of it. But unfortunately, the ones that don't want to be forthcoming is very difficult on our end. And there are some that may be scared to actually say something and talk to the police right on scene. But there are other avenues. You can come down to the PD. You can call in. Crime Stoppers. They're all different avenues, and it does help. Even if you're out there on scene and be like, look, I did see something, I just don't want to talk to you right now, we can give you a phone number and different avenues to talk to. So it does help the investigation. But yes, there are many times out on scene where a lot of people just don't want to talk or are scared to talk on an instance. But there have been cases, I know one where someone was like, hey, I won't talk to you here, but I'll meet you 3 blocks down the road, and talk to you there. So, I mean, those are different avenues that you can do. The officer's always willing to work with you.
Yeah, I mean, Sarge, talk about how important it is that community, involvement or willingness is, because I feel like a lot of times too, they think, well, you're the police, you're going to figure it out, you have all the tools, and, I was like, well, we can't wave a magic wand either.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of the times it's the smallest things that help us solve a case. You saw something that's unique about this individual or about their car even, a bumper sticker on a car a lot of times will help us solve a case. So anything you have, I mean, don't be afraid to contact us and tell us, even if you feel it's minor, it might be crucial to the case and solving the case. So.
Yeah. So how can the community continue to help your unit out?
I mean, they can call in and ask for the detective assigned to the case and just give us the information, and they can pass it on to me as well, and I can pass it down to them. Just contact us and let us know.
Does your unit, because I know the Waco Police Department, we do have a Criminal Investigations Division Facebook page, right? And do you guys use that?
We do, yeah. So if we have a good picture of a suspect or an involved person, we'll post it on there, and they can follow that page and help us out.
Yeah, I feel a lot of times there's some pretty good feedback with that Facebook page as far as when y'all post.
Yeah, real good interaction, yeah. There's a lot of people even from in the community and even from outside the community that follow it, so it is very helpful.
That's something that, I mean, a lot of people may not know, because, I mean, I recently just learned that you'll have your own Facebook page. So it's not the actual Waco PD page. It's a different...
it is a different page. I think it's called Waco Police Department Criminal Investigations Division.
Absolutely. Yes.
I believe that is the title. And just the reason for that is because they post a lot. I mean, just in his unit, they had 2,508 cases a year. So if I were to post on our normal Waco Police Department page, I mean,
it would just get...
a lot of things would get lost, especially when it comes to, what I post versus what y'all post. And so it's easier to have those separate pages.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, I always like to ask this question, but is there a misconception of the profession or stereotype that you always like to, remind the community of or change when you're out in the community?
I think sometimes that they get the community gets the impression that we don't care or that you're just another case, but we really do care, and we genuinely want to do well on your case and take care of you and treat you right and make sure that we're doing you justice, basically. So I think that's the biggest misconception that I see personally, that we don't care, but we do. And on the call that we go on, we're going to care. We're going to care taking your report. We're going to care doing the follow up as well. So we just ask the same in return. If you see something, say something.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's really important to talk about too, though, because our detectives, our officers, we all do care. And I think a lot of times too is the community maybe forgets as well what our officers and detectives have to look through and watch and see, because there's some horrible things that our officers have to go through to solve a case. And so it's hard sometimes. Yeah,
and I mean, and going through it's hard as well. So I mean, both sides can experience trauma. Trauma comes in all forms and all sizes. So, I think it's important.
Yeah, and I know too, like when detectives hit a dead end on a case, they get mad.
It can be frustrating. It can be frustrating
and upset. Yeah,
especially if you put a lot of time into it, and then it just ends up going, like an out of country type thing where you've done a lot of search warrants, done a lot of subpoenas, have all these records, hundreds of pages you've gone through, and then you can't do anything.
And I think I could speak for the officer side on that too. When officers go out and take a call, they genuinely care about the call, and even there are some officers that reach out to the detectives that want to know like the follow up of that call. So. I definitely can add to that. Every side of the department does care about your call. It's not just another call. Even though officers may have 7, 8, 9 calls in their shift, they care about each one, and there are some that they reach out to and want to know how it ended up or how the follow up or stuff like that. So definitely can attest to that.
Yeah. Well, Sarge, anything else about the assault financial unit that you think is important to talk about or that the community should know?
I think we covered it. I mean, I appreciate y'all having me on. Yeah. One thing, we are hiring at the Waco Police Department.
Yeah, so we are hiring.
Put in your application, get us some more people. We need good people.
Go work for Sergeant McAllister over here in assault financial crime.
We're hiring too, so.
That's good. Yes, we are hiring. We are also trying to hire more female officers, 30 by 30. Chief is a big supporter, and our department's a big supporter in that, trying to get 30% of law enforcement women
30%
of women females in law enforcement. I always switch the two words around.
Yeah,
by 2030.
2030. Yeah.
And I think we're at 16% right now.
Oh, so we're over halfway.
Mm-hmm.
We're doing good.
Over halfway. That's
So,
pretty
but
good.
yeah, we are hiring if you want to come be a part of our amazing department.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sarge, how would you convince someone to apply for the job?
How would you convince him? He's just a ray of sunshine.
I
That's
know,
how you
right?
convince
That's
him.
how
Look
you
at
convince
You can work with me every day.
I was just going to say.
Yeah, so I mean, whenever I first was looking for a job, I was looking for something that's going to be here forever, something that's reliable, and something that has good retirement. So, I mean, I think it checks all the boxes. And if you have a desire to help people, what better way to do it than being in law enforcement? So,
Exactly.
Absolutely.
you get to do it every day.
One thing that we didn't mention, which I think is really cool, is that your wife also works
She does. Yeah.
here, and she was
She was on your
she was
podcast.
on the podcast before. Yes, that was when we
Yeah.
had our crime stats episode with Brett and Angie, and that's really cool. So did she start after you started?
She did about 3 years after I did.
Okay.
I snatched her up immediately.
So you say she's a good catch.
Yep,
she's
gotta
a
have
good
it.
one.
Oh yeah, she's good. That's awesome. So well, very cool. That's awesome. That was just a fun fact I wanted to mention.
Yeah.
Just to it's kind of cool to connect the dots from those who've been listening and things like that.
Yeah.
To kind of show. So.
So then you have to go back and watch that episode if you missed that one. So.
Exactly. Yeah. We talk all about the. I can't even. Oh my gosh.
Crime analyst.
Thank you, crime analysts. I was like, they're not called crime statistics.
Crime statistician.
Yeah, exactly.
Statisticians. I'm going to start using that.
Yeah, it's all about the crime analysts and those lovely reports that we see on our website every month, every quarter, every year. It's all done by them. So,
Yeah, they do awesome work. So.
yeah, all of the investigations that y'all have to do, they generate all those
2,500 of them.
Yes,
into
yes.
numbers and broken down, which is really cool. If you haven't gone on the website and looked at those stats, it really does break down each of those crimes and to numbers and to neighborhoods. So and then like percentage from the previous year to this year. So if you haven't got a chance to go online and look at it, it's actually really interesting.
And even though your investigations may have gone up a bit, our crime has gone down overall in the year.
It has.
Yeah.
So
It's good to see the green.
Yes, it's good to see the green. So that's a good thing. Well, thank you, Sergeant McAllister,
All right, y'all have a great day.
for
Thanks having
joining
me.
us. We appreciate it. And I'm Sierra Shipley, the Public Information Officer for the Waco Police Department.
And I'm Officer Janae Draper with the Neighborhood Engagement Team.
Have a great day, Waco.
Waco PD on the beat. The heartbeat serving